Hello everyone, welcome to a lecture about the art of ignoring. The art of ignoring, a discipline of focus, wisdom and self-preservation. In a world overflowing with noise, opinions, distractions, and endless demands for attention, the ability to ignore has become not merely a preference, but a refined art. Ignoring unnecessary things and disengaging from people who are not well qualified is not an act of arrogance or indifference, as it is often misunderstood. Rather, it is a conscious discipline rooted in clarity, self-respect, and deep understanding of priorities. It is a skill that protects the mind, preserves energy, and ultimately leads to a more meaningful and productive life. To begin with, it is essential to understand that human attention is limited. Just as the body cannot carry infinite weight, the mind cannot process infinite input without consequence. Every conversation, every opinion, every piece of information consumes mental energy. When this energy is scattered across trivial matters or shaped by unqualified voices, it weakens one's ability to think critically and act wisely. Therefore, ignoring becomes a form of intellectual hygiene, a way of filtering what enters the mind. The modern individual is constantly exposed to unnecessary noise. Social media, casual conversations, and even professional environments are often filled with superficial judgments, uninformed advice, and emotionally driven reactions. If one were to engage seriously with all of these, they would quickly become overwhelmed, confused, and mentally exhausted. The art lies in recognizing that not everything deserves a response, and not every voice deserves consideration. Ignoring, however, does not mean rejecting people or ideas blindly. It requires discernment. One must deeply, one must develop the ability to distinguish between what is beneficial and what is not, between constructive criticism and empty talk, between expertise and mere opinion. This discernment is built through knowledge, experience, and reflection. A person who reads, observes, and thinks deeply becomes naturally selective. They do not ignore out of pride, but out of understanding. An important aspect of this art is dealing with people who are not well qualified in every field: education, business, social life. There are individuals who speak confidently without possessing the necessary knowledge or experience. Their words may be loud, persuasive, or even popular, but they lack substance. Engaging deeply with such individuals often leads to frustration, wasted time, and sometimes even doubt in one's own understanding. The wise approach is not to confront every such person or attempt to correct them constantly. Doing so drains energy and rarely produces meaningful change. Instead, one must learn to step back, to listen briefly if necessary, and then to move on without internalizing their words. Silence, in many cases, is not weakness but strength. It reflects control, patience, and a clear sense of direction. Moreover, ignoring unqualified individuals does not imply disrespect. It is possible to maintain politeness while choosing not to engage deeply. Respecting others as human beings is different from valuing their opinions equally. Not all opinions carry the same weight, and treating them as such leads to confusion and poor decision making. Another dimension of ignoring lies in protecting one's emotional well-being. Some people thrive on negativity, criticism, or unnecessary conflicts. They may seek to provoke reactions, spread doubt, or pull others into unproductive discussions. Engaging with them often leads to emotional exhaustion. By choosing to ignore such behavior, one preserves inner peace and maintains focus on what truly matters. This discipline is closely connected to the concept of purpose. A person who has clear goals and meaningful responsibilities cannot afford to be distracted by every passing comment or trivial issue. Their time is valuable, and they understand that every moment spent on something unnecessary is a moment taken away from something important. Ignoring, therefore, becomes an act of commitment to one's goals. However, mastering this art is not easy. It goes against natural human tendencies. People often feel the urge to respond, to defend themselves, to prove others wrong, or to be heard. These impulses are rooted in ego and emotion. Overcoming them requires self-control and humility. It requires accepting that not every misunderstanding needs correction, and not every criticism deserves a reply. There is also a deeper philosophical dimension to ignoring. It reflects an understanding of life's limitations and priorities. Time is finite, energy is limited, and opportunities are precious. A wise person chooses carefully where to invest these resources. They do not allow themselves to be dragged into trivialities or influenced by unqualified voices. Instead, they focus on growth, learning, and meaningful contribution. Furthermore, ignoring can be a form of strength in leadership and teaching. A teacher or a leader is often surrounded by different levels of understanding, attitudes, and behaviors. Responding to every minor issue or unproductive comment can disrupt the larger mission. By selectively ignoring what does not serve the objective, they maintain direction and effectiveness. It is important, however, to maintain balance. Ignoring should not become avoidance of responsibility or refusal to engage with necessary challenges. There are moments when addressing issues directly is essential. The art lies in knowing when to ignore and when to act. This balance distinguishes wisdom from negligence. Last but not least, the art of ignoring unnecessary things and unqualified individuals is a powerful discipline that enhances clarity, preserves energy, and supports meaningful living. It is not about isolation or arrogance, but about focus and discernment. In a world filled with noise, the ability to remain silent, selective, and centered is a rare strength. Those who master this art do not merely avoid distraction. They create space for growth, wisdom, and purposeful action. Ultimately, ignoring is not about what one rejects, but about what one chooses to value. It is a quiet declaration that one's time, mind, and energy are too valuable to be spent on what does not contribute to a higher purpose. That's the end of this lecture. Thank you very much.
White, center justified. Bottom of screen. Voice memos. Avenue to comment down. Sheet grabber. Half screen. Avenue to sheet grabber. Half. Avenue duration. Stop. Button.